something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Oh, look at that. Video up. There you go. How are you, folks? Going all right today? Hope you're doing better than me. Drowned friggin' rat in my part of the world, I can tell you. It started raining sometime yesterday evening, late yesterday afternoon, and it's only just stopped. And can I tell you, around here, we've had a bit of water. We've probably, I haven't had a measuring thing out, but judging by just having a bit of a look at some of the roads and whatnot around here, we've had well over 100 mil of rain and more coming. So they say, might get a bit more tonight. And tomorrow, I think, doing the same. I haven't got them, but I did go and have a bit of a look today at our radar websites, of course, our weather radars. And yes, very active. The ionospheric heaters today, particularly the one down near Moree, was working and shooting up past Taroom. That was obviously working with the front that was coming down from central Queensland, trying to build that up, and obviously did a fairly good job of that. At one point, the weather radars were showing the weather coming onshore, but the reality was the weather was going offshore. So very strange, particularly around here in the hinterland. Lots of road closures. I believe that in the last couple of days, Movie World and Dream World have both been flooded out. Their car parks have turned into pools, literally with cars floating away in them. That is a lot of water in that part of the world to make that happen. I've only ever seen Movie World go underwater once before, and I don't know that I've ever seen Dream World go under. It's closer to the Coomera River, so you probably think it would be. But it's going to be an interesting and wet Christmas, I dare say. If you are heading out and doing a little bit of camping over your Christmas holidays, be safe. I'm sure that you've got your favourite Christmas spot organised, and rain, hail or shine, you'll be in it. I know that's certainly how a lot of people feel about heading up toward the islands here in Queensland. A lot of people head just north of Noosa and sort of south of Maryborough, if you like, camping along the beaches, Inskip Point, those sorts of places. And to the folks in Victoria, who I think, now, what's the date? 17th. So Shelley in Victoria won't be going just yet, but the Wackety Creek camping resort that we stayed at a couple of weeks ago in Echuca will be the home for many My Place Victoria folks. Cherie and her crew head there. I think they're going for 4 weeks or 3 weeks, starting in the next couple of days or so. It's a magnificent place. If you've never been to Wackety Creek, and let's face it, probably many of you haven't, if you've got horses, you can take horses. They've got horse paddocks for them, great riding around there. And, of course, it's right on the side of the Murray, so you can go and catch yourself I was going to say a Murray cod, but you're probably more likely to catch yourself a carp. If you do catch yourself a carp, I know a Polish man who swears he can cook them so that you can eat them. I don't know. I've tried carp before. It's a bit like putting a fork full of mud on your tongue. That's how I remember it, but maybe not. Things may have changed somewhat. I want to show you a little something at the moment. Drones are a big thing in the world, and I guess they're making news for all sorts of reasons at the moment. But if you ever wondered whether or not Skynet was going to be upon us, I can tell you, Skynet is a-coming, folks. Now, this is an arms expo being held in Europe, and these are some of the UAVs that are now being put together by military contractors. Now, you can see that that is a fairly reasonable size thing. It actually has side plates on it there for people to sit. I would suspect armed people to sit and be flown into situations. Don't know how many people you would actually be able to put on that. Maybe one, maybe two. People add weight. These things are very weight sensitive. So the drones are certainly popping around and popping up in weird places. You've no doubt seen some of the vision coming out of America, particularly the East Coast or eastern parts of America. Every night for the last few nights at least, there have been not one or two drones, but hundreds of drones flying around in various parts of the eastern United States. A lot of the drones are focusing in New Jersey and New York, and there are certainly a lot of drones down around Mar-a-Lago in Florida and that part of the world as well. Now, is America being invaded by the Chinese with drone technology? No, that is not the case. And I can tell you that what most of the intel coming out of America is saying about these at the moment, and a couple of them have fallen out of the sky and been picked up. These are large, very large quad drones or large octos that are capable of flying at fairly reasonable speeds, well over 100 kilometers an hour. But what are they doing? Well, America, for a very, very long time, used to employ a nuclear task force group that would fly around America or fly over main cities in helicopters, trying to find a nuclear signature. Now, this is designed, or this force was designed to try and find something that might be leaking radiation, you know, a dirty bomb, if you like, that might have been brought into America. Well, they've upgraded from helicopters to drones, and that's what you're seeing at the moment. Those drones are what they call sniffer units, and those drones can fly over suburbs, cover a lot of ground, using different sorts of camera technology, but more particularly, they sniff the air, looking for radioactive material. And the whisper coming out of America at the moment is, it's not so much a whisper, it's now a scream, I think, that that America is either gearing up for a false flag, so it is using this drone technology to convince the people that there is some kind of a threat somewhere, and they're out trying to mitigate it, although they haven't come out and said that's what they're doing with the drones at the moment. In fact, the US government is conspicuous in their quietness about what they're saying about all that at the moment. Of course, you wouldn't necessarily expect them to come out and say, oh, yes, well, look, we've got a credible threat that there is a dirty bomb in an American city. What is a dirty bomb? It's a neutron nuclear device. It kills using radiation, not the blast, if you like. So it leaves all the infrastructure in place and just kills everything else around it. So that is what they are sniffing for, a dirty bomb in a major US city where they feel they are most likely going to be attacked. And that would be a terrorist action. If somebody were to let a nuclear dirty bomb go somewhere on US soil, that would be a very bad terrorist action. If it was, in fact, the terrorists who did it, the terrorists who did it might be currently living in the White House or something that looks like a reasonable facsimile of it. So don't go and get too excited about it all. Don't go and get too worried about it all. I do not foresee a nuclear war anytime soon. What I do see is the fear-mongering being ramped up over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We have less than 3 weeks until January the 6th, when the vote must be ratified. The Electoral College votes for the US election must be ratified. The Democrats are looking for all sorts of reasons not to do it. And trust me, they will find one. Trump had the exact and proper reason to have his vice president, Pence, block or not ratify the Electoral College votes back in 2020. He had the exact and correct triggers to do that, except Pence was gutless, was bought, and has now been arrested. If you watch Real Raw News, you'll understand that Pence, who is a pedophile, has been arrested. He was arrested just after Thanksgiving and taken to Guantanamo Bay, where he was due to face a military trial. I believe that military trial now has been held over, and at the instructions of Donald Trump, they want him to face a public trial. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that actually materializes, or whether or not this is all just another furphy coming out of somewhere. But I've never been let down by the groups that are talking about this sort of information at the moment. Before, they are usually very accurate in what they're saying. So keep an eye out for that. Pence is obviously very quiet at the moment, as you would expect a former vice president to be around this time. However, his name is popping up in intel circles all the time. So he's certainly not out of the game just yet. It will be interesting to see how that will play out further down the track. But right now, I think, with the UFOs and everything else that are happening around the States at the moment, they probably have a little bit too much going on. Drones are making news all around the world. Ukraine are using drones for a variety of things. Now, apparently, they're using them for farming as well. So this is a bit of onboard footage. You can see that this is cropping time. So they've got the harvesters out trying to get the wheat in, or whatever it is that they're getting. And there you go, drones straight into the engine bay of what must have been an extremely threatening header. Why would they be attacking headers and farmers who appear to be doing no damage other than to their own crops? Well, they're doing that because they want to try and put the brakes on the food supply going back into Russia. A lot of the areas that Russia is fighting for are the main food and production areas through Ukraine. These areas were ostensibly always Russian, have always been set up and funded by Russia, etc. Nowadays, of course, Ukraine, wants all that back, but now wants NATO to pay for it rather than the Russians, which I find, is a little bit disturbing, to say the least. But it is what it is. Of course, they are using other sorts of drones too. Now, I have shown you how these kamikaze drones appear to be working, particularly for the Ukrainians on the Russian soldiers. You can They both lived out of that, you'll be pleased to know. So the small amount of explosive that those sorts of drones can carry and detonate, if it's close enough to you, will make a bit of a damage to you. But as you can see, those blokes found them very, very hard to shoot down. That's because they're shooting a weapon that fires a single slug. If you had a shotgun or something similar, if you had, I know you're in war, it would be a lot easier to bring down a drone like that, something that has a much more of a spread pattern. So compare and contrast the drones currently being used in Ukraine versus the ones I showed you before that are now being sold, for the want of a better term, to the highest bidders at the weapons markets that are being held around the world. And they are certainly in great demand. Something else that's happened over the last couple of days, which I've seen, and I'm not going to play all of this. It's a minute. Oh, well, maybe I will play it all. I find this vile, absolutely vile. Every part of what I'm about to play you, I find I violently object to. And I think most of you will as well. What shocks me the most are the faces and the bodies and the voices that this shit is coming from. Have a listen to
Most of
this.
us feel discomfort when we think about pedophiles. But just like pedophiles, we are not responsible for our feelings. We do not choose them. But we are responsible for our actions. And we must make a decision. It is in our responsibility to reflect and to overcome our negative feelings.
I didn't mean to turn it off there. I'll play it again for you. I just dropped my mouth.
Most of us feel discomfort when we think about pedophiles. But just like pedophiles, we are not responsible for our feelings. We do not choose them. But we are responsible for our actions. And we must make a decision. It is in our responsibility to reflect and to overcome our negative feelings about pedophiles and to treat them with the same respect we treat other people with. We should accept that pedophiles are people who have not chosen their sexuality and who, unlike most of us, will never be able to live it out freely if they want to lead an upright life. We should accept that pedophilia is a sexual preference.
Yes, from an emotional point of view, I can kind of understand that you would want to eliminate these people from society. However, it doesn't make sense. And that's because we're talking about biology. We're talking about a sexual orientation, something that we simply cannot change. And on top of that, every day, new people are born with the same difficulty. So it's not practical to eliminate these people from society. They haven't done anything wrong.
Fuck you.
Good lad.
Yeah, go for it. Fuck it.
That's how I feel about it. These people can be eliminated from society. Just takes will. That's all. Why are they sending young women in front of us trying to convince us that pedophilia can be rationalized, can be okay? Why do these women think it's okay? Why do these young women think it's okay? What trauma have they been put through that they would believe this is okay? And what do they say to the victims? And God knows there are millions of them that have suffered at the hands of a sexual predator. I am truly disgusted that the fact that these young women are coming out and making these arguments. The fact that these arguments can be made in public, that there are academics, I'm not at all surprised they're academics who are making these remarks and trying to convince people that it's a great thing to allow pedophiles to get away with what they do. You understand, of course, there is a movement here in Australia at the moment that is pushing for the age of consent to be lowered to 12. That is considered old in some countries. There are some that are considering pushing it to 8, Germany being one of them. So, filth, absolute filth. And anybody supporting this, I think, should be watched very closely, have their children watched very closely. Okay, let's have a bit of a look inside the chat here tonight. Who was first in? Sunflower first in tonight. God love you, woman. Good to have you in. Hope you and Rick are doing okay. Brett and Margot jumped in pretty much about the same time, and Andrew too. Petey Grace is in the house. I hope Pinaroo is doing you okay, brother. Michelle is in the house. And I wonder if Aussie Sue has turned up. G'day, DM. Tony. Yeah, mate, I've seen your emails. It's a bit wet in Queensland, mate. I should have taken the camera out this morning. I went to have a bit of a look this morning at some of the water that's coming down through the property, and we've got 7 creeks. Oh, I beg your pardon. We've got 5 creeks, 7 dams, and as it turns out, a lot of other water holding area. So I went for a bit of a drive this morning to have just a bit of a look at how much water was coming down the mountain. There is a huge bit of water coming down the hills. And I will, if it's raining tomorrow morning, take the camera out and show you again, because it really is quite beautiful when it's in full flow. You just don't want to be near it too much. And of course, we're doing our best with our roads around here at the moment. A lot of money has been spent on the roads here, on the property, and they're holding up reasonably well for the most part. There are a couple of areas that are suffering a little bit, so I dare say in the next few days we might be digging a few more trenches and putting a few more swales in and that sort of thing to try and redirect some of this water from some of the more difficult areas that it seems to be getting into. It's probably the best way of putting it. Vince is in the house too, and I saw Sabinator. Sab, we haven't seen you for a little while, mate. I don't know if you're aware or not, but you won the 1 ounce silver bullion prize last week. So Vince is the man to talk to. Please email Vince at vofhq.com and he will send you your 1 ounce ingot. All thanks to Pete from Pinaroo, who put that one up for our competition last week. Very, very generous of him. So, Sab, please email Vince and let him know your address. He has your little bit of silver and we'll be sending it your way. I was going into Ainsley Bullion today to catch up with Michael and the team there just before Christmas, just to wish them all the best. Michael, unfortunately, is unwell at the moment, so we weren't able to catch up. Hopefully, we will do that before the end of this week, and we'll have a little message from him leading up to Christmas as well. I would recommend to you having a look at the Ainsley newsletter. It came out, well, it comes out every day, but there is some pretty good, interesting articles there on crypto at the moment and what gold and silver are doing at the moment. So the gold spot price seems to be bouncing around somewhere between 4,170 and 4,200 and something. And the silver price seems to be jumping between sort of mid $47 to $50 range. And it's doing so very rapidly and then dropping very rapidly. If you're interested in why those sorts of market fluctuations happen, then can I tell you that the Ainsley newsletter is well worth a read. Every morning the guys send one out, and if something big happens, they'll send another one out in the afternoons. So well worth a read. And of course, if you're struggling to get somebody a gift for Christmas, you know, these people who have everything, well, why don't you go and buy them a little bit of silver? Buy them a silver coin for Christmas. I've been doing that now for my family for the last couple of years. And look, for the most part, I don't think they really understand what's going on, particularly the kids, although the kids are in their 20s, you'd think they'd understand. They are starting to stack and see that there is, okay, a bit of appreciation for it. They're not buying anything themselves out of it, although Laura is, which is good. She's buying a little bit of silver occasionally now, which is great. Putting it behind them and watching it grow. Give them for Christmas. You don't have to go and spend, you know, a fortune either. You can go and buy an ounce coin. Even just a skippy these days is, well, I suppose about $47. However, you can, if you've got a big family and you want to give everybody a bit of silver, you can give them a 1/10. Now, you can give them a single 1/10, which is about the size, as you can see, of a 5-cent piece and about half the weight of a 5-cent piece, I'll tell you. But if you are at all interested in giving away 1/10, you can get them in little tubes like that. There's 40 in there. You can buy them in tubes of 15 as well through ainsleyBullion.com.au. And this is a great little way to begin your stack and have something that's useful to be able to trade. Every one of these 1/10 rounds is currently worth around $10. a little under $10. I don't know that you can see that. So worth just a little under $10. And there are plenty of businesses. I'll try and get that so you can see it. There are plenty of businesses, particularly coastal area businesses on, Byron and associated other places further north as well, and I believe south, where if you ask, they will trade you silver or gold if you can have that bigger breakfast for a feed or for a beer or for whatever. So if you've got people who are hard to buy for and they like shiny things, then can I suggest get them something made of silver or gold from Ainsley Bullion for Christmas. And it can start from as little as something, as small and as cheap as these 1/10 rounds, all the way through to kilos of silver or gold, if that's what you can afford for Christmas. And God love you if that is the case. I hope you're doing okay with it. Christmas is always a hard time for many people. It's a wonderful time for many people. It's a great time for families to get together. It's also a time where many people dread coming together with family because they've had issues in the past, or there've been problems around Christmas time, or problems within the family. Whatever you're doing for Christmas, I hope you just be safe, be happy, and be yourself. That's all you really need to be. We'll be having a fairly quiet Christmas with my mum, and we'll probably be on air Christmas night, I would say, at some stage, just to say good day, see if I can't rope a few others in. But it would depend. I don't want to interrupt your Christmas day too much either, and I hope you go off and enjoy it wherever you are watching from, whether it be here in Australia or around the world. Speaking of around the world, our American friends, or our friends in America, I would like to thank them too for their support. It's wonderful to have you guys in the chat every now and again. I haven't done any morning chats for a while, so it makes it a little harder for you to be part of it. But we'll get back to doing those, and I look forward to having you guys back into the chat in the new year too. Thank you again for your support for the last year or so. I'm just having a bit of a scan down here to see if there's any questions from you guys. DM, sounds like you've had a fun day. I've had one of those as well. But look, it's all part of the fun of life, the universe, and everything. If every day was just going along swimmingly and we didn't have any challenges to face, we wouldn't be learning anything. We'd just be getting stagnant in body and brain. So I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. When these struggle days sort of come upon me, push forward, because they only last as long as you let them last. And if you're going to sit down and wallow in them, then, well, you're going to sit down and wallow in them. I'm not that kind of person. I'd like to push forward and try and get my way out of those sorts of things, and I'm hoping you're the same. Christmas can bring on a lot of feelings of loneliness and sadness for people as well. There is no need for anybody in this family to feel lonely or sad this Christmas. All you need to do is reach out. Carl at vofhq.com. And if you happen to be around this part of the world and you want to catch up, we will catch up. And in fact, Dusty, who I don't know if you're in the chat tonight, I got your email, Dusty. And you, like me, catching up with your mum for Christmas in Oxenford. Well, my mum lives in Oxenford as well. So, yes, we will catch up while you are around Oxenford, and go and have a lovely meal somewhere after Christmas. That'll be, I dare say. Might be before New Year. Now, if any of you are around and you want to come for a meal sometime between Christmas and New Year, or just after the New Year, maybe, let me know. Email me or Vince, Carl at vofhq.com. And some dates when you're going to be around the Gold Coast sort of area. We'll organise a pub. We might head to Coomera Lodge this time round for somewhere different, and organise a little Christmas drink or a New Year drink for anybody who's interested, and a meal. So email me, Carl at vofhq.com, with some dates where you'll be around and happy. I think, Dusty, you turn up, I want to say it's the end of this week, so we'll have to make our catch up, I guess, after Christmas. But we will arrange that. And if there's anybody else that wants to catch up and say hi, then love to do it. Always up for catching up and meeting people. In fact, met some wonderful ones over the last couple of days. For those that aren't aware, it was my birthday on Sunday, and we went and had a magnificent meal at the Beachmont Hotel. Now, for those of you who've come to the Gold Coast and only ever see the beach, you've got to get out and head up into the hinterland, particularly on the weekends if you like smoked meat. Oh, wow. They've got a smokehouse up there to die for at the Beachmont Hotel. My first time there for a meal, and I've got to say, just loved it and could go back every day and eat there. So be prepared. The Beachmont Hotel might turn out to be a focal point at some point next year when we have a bit of a gathering. It's an awesome pub. They've got great live music venue there too. So be a great place for us all to gather together, a really good outdoor area. And see what we can do. Sab is asking questions of Vince. Vince seems to be replying. I haven't seen the question yet. So mate, that's very big of you, Sab. Thank you. So Sab's asked if he can donate the prize back to Ainsley. Unfortunately, it wasn't Ainsley that gave us the prize. It was actually Pete from Pinaroo. But Sab, let me have a talk to Ainsley about that. We might be able to get a 5-ounce piece to give away in the new year, and we'll run that one too. And I'm sure you can be involved. I mean, unless you've got a lucky streak and you're going to keep winning everything. But it's very generous of you, as Michelle has said. So thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity, and work it out with Vince. We'll figure it out. So yeah, we'll figure it out one way or the other. Just scanning down to see if there is a... Oh, okay. Stephen Greer's got something new out. I haven't seen that today, Jason. I'll go and have a look. For some reason or other, I've got a Stephen Greer on my Facebook page, but it is not the Dr. Stephen Greer, I don't think, even though it says, because it has almost semi-porn coming up on it on Facebook. I've reported it. It appears in my feed for some stupid reason. So don't know what's going on there. For those that aren't aware, Dr. Stephen Greer is a UFO expert out of America, worked in Area 51 and has been there since the early 80s, as far as I remember. He now claims not to work there. He does live in the New Mexico desert in the middle of nowhere with a lot of protection around him. He is also the man responsible for briefing the US Congress on UFO activity, and he's been responsible for briefing many presidents on UFO activity for many years. That all means something if you believe in UFOs, I guess. At the moment, many Americans are screaming that there are UFOs flying around, but they're not. They're just drones. And they are sniffer drones, as we mentioned at the start. They're madly trying to find some sort of trace of a nuclear weapon on US soil. So we will see. Vince is also mentioning there's a new upload on FBN Media on the Rumble and YouTube channel. Oh, no, it's on the Rumble FBN Media channel. It's from the 832 muster in Mount Gambier. There were a lot of speeches there that Vince is slowly cutting together and putting up. So go to the Rumble channel, FBN Media. You'll find the unedited versions of interviews will go up on there. The edited versions, if Vince has the time to edit them, will go up on YouTube, but on the Facebook on the YouTube FBN Media channel. We have to be careful what we put up on there because they will take that channel down, and it's the only one we have for FBN Media there. So most of what happens on that channel will come up as pre-recorded. That way we control what goes on it. There will be the odd live stream that happens through it, but once again, that'll be a fairly controlled thing as well, because we don't want to be losing the only FBN Media channel we have on YouTube. However, on Rumble, FBN Media on Rumble, no such editing involved. We will put the whole story up, lock, stock, and two smokings. So be prepared to go and do that. Thank you, Sab. That was, a great gift last week. Really appreciate it, and got you in the draw, which you won, and now you've donated back again. That's very, very generous of you. Okay. Daniel, that's a very good call. Those guys being chased around by the drone were wearing something akin to bomb disposal padding. Yeah, you're right. The other thing you've got to remember with a lot of this vision that comes out, folks, a lot of it is made specifically for TV, made to convince you of something. Never believe just what you are seeing as, oh, gee, the media just happened to be there and record that in perfect, high definition. That's very, very rarely the case. If you're seeing vision like that, that's been filmed externally from a third camera, if you like, fly on the wall, then more often than not, that has actually been set up so that they get the desired angle, the desired look and effect that they're trying to put out with whatever action shot they're trying to get there. So be aware there is a lot of that being thrown around at the moment, including a little bit to do with Project Bluebeam, I suppose, because they're throwing out UFOs, motherships, dropping drones. In fact, that was the big story the other day over New Jersey. There was a mothership, a huge mothership, which nobody managed to get any photos of, dropping drones. Now, I don't doubt for a moment that the amount of drones, particularly over New Jersey, will have come from somewhere and quite possibly come from a flight platform where they've launched out the back of something fairly large. I would have thought that would be an aircraft, though, rather than a UFO. Could be wrong, but I've been wrong before. God knows I've been wrong before, and happy to wear it. Don't set out to tell you half-truths or untruths, but occasionally some of the things that I take as truth have turned out to be bullshit. And I do try to back up as much as I possibly can. In fact, today I was going to give you a whole different sort of show from some of the things that I'd found on Telegram. It was quite disturbing. Before I disturbed you with them, I was trying this afternoon to actually qualify where these things have come from. They're claiming to be coming out of Ukraine or out of the battle area in Ukraine. And I've seen things in there that make me believe that isn't the case. So I'm still doing some background investigation on that. I hope to have more on that tomorrow night. But be aware that there is a propaganda war that is being waged against us at the moment too. And that's not happening in mainstream media because most of us don't watch mainstream media. So now they are flooding platforms like Telegram and Facebook and Twitter or X with new video that is quite disturbing in some cases, but I believe quite made up. In probably better than 90% of the cases, I think it's mostly made up. Engineered and acted. There is a fair bit of acting that's going on. Aussie Sue, God love you. That's what we want you to do, folks. Like and share. And if you want to, please drop a comment in the comments or in the chat. I do go back through and read all the comments. It may take me a day or two to get to them, and I do try and reply back to them. So we've been trying to get a little bit of an idea of where you're all located. So if it's not too much trouble, just drop a comment for me. Let me know where you are in the country, here in Australia, or where you are in the world if you're watching from outside the country. And we would love to be able to broaden the family here, there, and everywhere. So if you're part of it, we want to know where you are. And that way, if we come to your part of the world, we can reach out and maybe catch up. Go and have a beer or a coffee or a lunch. I know Daniel is still waiting for me to arrive back in Canberra and get to his place. Sorry, Daniel. The plan is to come back to Canberra sooner rather than later. I'll let you know when the sooner part of it actually comes around. Vince, this is what Vince has put up on the FBN Media site on Rumble. I don't know if you can hear that rain. It has just started again. Dr. Graham Lyons was at this event. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Dr. Lyons, lovely gentleman, absolutely lovely gentleman. He is not a medico doctor. He is more a scientific doctor, and he's been involved with plants and all that sort of thing for many, many, many years. Boy, does he have some truths for you in his speech, and that's what has been put up at the FBN Media channel on Rumble. That is the one we can't put on YouTube because the good doctor has had himself kicked off YouTube numerous times for what he believes and what he says, and we would follow exactly the same path if we let it go up on the YouTube. However, Rumble are a bit more forgiving. What have you done, Stuart? What have you broken, brother? This isn't good. I'm still wandering around, but I shouldn't twist it that hard, but I am getting some twisting available use of my wrist again. I slept last night without it in the guard again, and I shouldn't have done that. Got a bit brave. That was the second night, and I hurt myself sometime last night rolling over on it in the middle of the night. So it was a bit sore this morning when I woke up. But slowly but surely getting stronger. I still couldn't open a plastic bag. I haven't got enough strength in this hand yet to hold the bag to open it, but getting there slowly but surely. And I haven't got my little spiky ball. I've got this magnificent spiky ball that massages and lets me grip and do all sorts of great things. So if you've got problems with your hands, mate, get used to it. You're going to need one of those. They are spectacular. And there is a goo that you can get as well. The goo is, in my case, it's blue. I've actually got to put it out in the sun at the moment to get it to soften a little bit more so that I can squeeze it. Yeah, I guess because I just still have no left hand strength as such. And my fingers still have a little bit of swelling in them, which is all a little weird, but apparently all to be expected according to the doctors. So life, the universe, and everything plods on. The wrist seems to be improving. A bit cooler in Pinaroo today. Well, I hope Rumpy and Silverside aren't feeling it too badly for you there, Pete. Rumpy and Silverside, in case you haven't met two cows that will be heading off sometime in the not too distant future to be turned into Rumpsteak and Silverside. We've already been through why Pete names his beasts after the cuts they're going to be. Makes it a lot easier on the kids. India's just bought another $300 million worth of Aussie silver. China has just bought another $500 million worth of our gold as well. Why are all these countries stocking up on our silver and our gold, folks? And why aren't you? If you're not, take their lead. Take the lead of many others around here. Scotty, that's great news. Your son's starting to stack. Awesome stuff. Well, I can tell you that that's about the biggest stack I've got, which is a roll of 40 of those Ainsley 1/10ths. But it's a hell of a stack. It stacks beautifully, and you can put a couple on there, and they'll stack nicely. But good luck. If you're getting the kids into stacking, get them in now. If they're buying silver now at $47, what are they going to make on that next year? And I can tell you, people who have done this and have reached out to me as recently as the last trip down to South Australia, somebody came up to me and explained that they knew nothing about gold and silver until I started talking about it, which is great because I knew nothing about gold and silver until I started talking about it too. They followed my advice. They went to Ainsley. They've purchased, and over the course of, it must be coming up on 2 years now, they have continued to buy, but their stack now is fairly significant. They've been buying kilos of gold at various different times. Kilos of silver, I beg your pardon. Not quite that rich to buy kilos of gold. And I think the first kilo they bought they bought for just under $900. And now that same kilo is worth, I think, about $1,300. And it has gone up as high as $1,800. So keep an eye on the market when you're buying that sort of stuff. If you're buying to trade it, to make a few bucks, there are people out there who will give you advice on how to do that. I am not that person, but I'm sure Ainsley Bullion will be able to point you in the right direction of how to follow the lines and how to buy and trade, if you like, buy and trade or buy and sell, trade in bullion. Plenty of people doing it, plenty of people making a lot of money out of it, and good luck to them. I'm afraid I don't have the wherewithal to sit there and watch the little blue lines all day. Tony, you are 100% right, mate. There is going to be a silver shortage soon. We only need to look at some of the advice that China has given about how much silver they are wanting for solar production in the next 12 months. In fact, they want more silver for their solar panel production in the next 12 months than the amount of silver will be brought out of the ground globally. So how is it the price is so low? It can't stay low forever. It is going to burst. They are going to hit that bubble point where it can go no bigger. And when it does burst, the prices will go through the roof. Make sure you have some silver in your pocket when that happens, because you will be very, very happily surprised, I would hope. Stuart, gold and silver attracts thieves. Well, yes. However, there are plenty of easy, like really clever ways and very easy ways to keep your stash secure. And I was once going to go and do a whole list of ways that you can, and where and how you can hide your gold and silver. But then what point would that be? All the thieves are going to do is watch that, and it'll give them the first 10 places to go and look. So I'm happy to talk to you privately about that sort of thing if that's what you want, if you really can't come up with a place yourself. And there are plenty. I mean, you can go and dig a hole in the backyard and bury it in the backyard, put a rose on top of it, It is that simple. You don't need to have it somewhere where you can gaze at it every day or anything like that. I know people who have skills in woodworking, in furniture building and that sort of thing. And they have built themselves furniture and built their, well, in this case, it's gold into their furniture. Now, that piece of furniture, I've got to admit, is like going into a high-end motel or a hotel where they don't want you to steal the chair in your room, and they make it out of cement or something bloody stupid that you can't lift. That's essentially what this turns into. So this one gentleman that I'm thinking of has actually built himself a workbench that sits out in his workshop and probably has the better part of $1 million worth of gold in it, in various parts of it. But it's a functioning workbench. There are very clever ways that really hide the gold or the silver, hide the precious metals in plain sight, because it's what most people don't look for when they are hiding. So, just reading a couple of things here. Salty, happy 21st birthday. Appreciate that, dude. 59 I was on Sunday. So, and had a lovely meal, like I say, at the pub. We just had a few people from here. Cass came. There are a couple of other people who floated around. A mate of mine out of the Gold Coast. He and his wife turned up. It was lovely to catch up with them, and yeah, just have a nice meal with friends. So a good day had by all. Vince, I see, has posted up the link to the Mount Gambier chat with Dr. Graham Lyons. So that's it up on the screen there. But if you are in the chat, you'll be able to find it under Vince's name in there. Or you can just go to Rumble and go to the search engine there and type in FBN Media, and the channel should come up straight away. Stuart, I love what you're saying. All anyone can do is their best. Be good to folks, be compassionate, and bathe in the love and the hope that you give. Mate, that is a wonderful sentiment for this time of year. God love you, and I hope life, the universe, and everything is going well for you in your part of the world. Security cameras. If anybody has any security camera tips, I'd be interested in getting some. I'm looking for something that works Wi-Fi. In fact, we probably need a few somethings that work Wi-Fi, but yeah, we're looking to get a couple of interesting new camera angles to be put around here at the moment. Just having a bit of a look down here. Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate the birthday wishes. Okay, can't see too much by way of questions or anything else at the moment, so we might leave it for that. So that's great. We've got a whole bunch of people through Victoria. Beautiful part of the world, the Mornington Peninsula down that way. I'm looking forward to getting back down. Where did I spend my time last time I was there? The Rye. I think I was at Rye at the caravan park. I think I might have spent 3 nights there. Beautiful part of the world. Able to gaze back across the bay to Melbourne City and all of that. Yep, very nice. Spiky ball massage. Somebody. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. Yeah, Denise, I think you're right. Therapy is going to be the thing that the hand requires. So can make a fist like that, but can't. I mean, you can see I can turn that one almost 90 degrees, but this one not so much yet. That's about as far as I can push it, and I'm feeling that pulling through here, believe it or not. So yes, new hand therapies. The doctors told me the other day when I went back and had an X-ray that they want me to come back in 4 weeks and see what sort of rotational strength I have. I've got something that's popping when I do that, and it probably shouldn't be. That could be a bit of an issue. It's not really hurting, but we'll see. I'm quite surprised. Yesterday, I couldn't twist it that much. So rapidly, every day, I am seeing, marked improvement. And I don't put it down to anything other than I'm doing everything I possibly can to help myself, including with LifeWave. So my new patches just turned up that you probably can't see because of the light, but that's how they turn up when you buy a packet of patches. Turn up in a very large envelope for a reasonably small packet, that's what comes out of it. So I'm about to slap on my last one of those for this packet at least. And I can tell you 100%, folks, if you want to try these out, if you want to give somebody the gift of what is potentially a pain-free, well, you may not get them before Christmas, but a pain-free New Year, then these LifeWave patches I can't recommend enough to you. You saw me drop that one on my shoulder last night. It's still on my shoulder. I haven't had pain in the shoulder all last night, all during the day today. None. Whereas the last 2 days, it's really been killing me. I think I've been leaning on it while I've been sleeping in a strange way and using it to leverage myself around the bed or whatever I'm doing. Thank God there's nobody else in that bed with me. They'd get a pummeling, seriously. And I don't mean like that. I think I'm just a bit of a violent roll-around sleeper, which takes a bit of the fun out of life, the universe, and everything. At any rate, shoulder's working perfectly as advertised as it should be, and I've done nothing but put one of these X39 patches on it last night here on the show. I've been putting them on my wrist doubly. Like I've been putting one here and one on the other side of the wrist for about 4 weeks. That's why I've chewed through a month's worth of patches in half the time they're meant to go. and I have felt great benefit from having it. I put one of these patches on a friend here yesterday. He's studying Muay Thai, and he went to threw a kick in training yesterday into the bloke who's holding a pad, and his elbow was poking out around the other side of the pad. My friend's top of his foot hit his elbow, and he was finding it very hard to walk. Put one of those patches on him last night, and he told me this morning, cannot believe, no bruising, no nothing. He's walking around. There's no pain in the foot. And I don't know if you've ever, if you hit somebody's elbow or get hit by an elbow the right way, very, very painful. And he basically hit the top of his foot. So a pretty soft area. X39 patches sorted him out. So he's now a convert and has signed up. So if you want to sign up and try these patches, you can buy them one-off, or you can use this as a business opportunity and introduce other people to them. It is quite a significant business opportunity. They are very generous with the commissions that they put forward by comparison to other sorts of this sort of thing. I'm not in it for the business. I'm in it to help people. So if you feel you're in pain, or you know somebody who is, give this a try. It could change their life. It has changed many people's lives. Just in the 12 months or so that I've been able to show these products to you, these X39 patches work on your own frequency, your own infrared heat of your body triggers them. And what they in turn do is work on your red blood cells, or your copper peptides in your blood, which are in the red blood cells. These copper peptides are responsible for making stem cells in our own body. And as we get older, we don't have as many copper peptides in our blood as we used to. Therefore, we don't make as many stem cells as we used to. And therefore, it takes us a little bit longer to heal. Well, the doctors said they're amazed that a 59-year-old bloke's wrist, who broke it as badly as I did, which apparently had like multiple fractures running down the thing. It looked like a spider web. They can't believe that in 5 weeks I've basically grown all that back together. There is no bone movement. There is no nothing. And it's all looking very, very solid. And I put that down in part to the X39s that I've been wearing since the day this happened. They have been working tirelessly to help rebuild me, as the old $6 million man thing used to say. So if you think gold and silver is a bit too much to be offering friends and family for Christmas, but you know people who are in pain, then take down that address, the LifeWave address going across the bottom there. That will get you into the system, and you can buy 1 month's worth of patches and try them out. Never, ever bother buying them again. But if they work for you, I dare say you will want to come back and buy them. And it's cheaper to buy 3 months at a time than it is one, just between you, me, and the gatepost. But if you're going to try them out for people, that's the way to do it. All right, folks, going to love you and leave you for tonight. Thank you for joining me again. Oh, Bitcoin at the moment. I haven't seen what's going on with Bitcoin. Mind you, I became more conscious with Bitcoin in the last 2 weeks than ever before with Vince. He has it permanently mounted on his phone, and every time it went beep or made a noise, he'd be showing me how much Bitcoin had grown again. It was hovering around that 100K mark. I don't know if it's still there. I would say that it's gone up, considering gold and silver seem to be going down today. So we'll just see what happens. But yeah, if you are into the Bitcoin, you've got to be pretty happy with the way things have gone with that recently. I know Vince has put it to very good use. He's been able to, well, not just fund the trip that we went through Victoria and South Australia with, and God love him for that generosity, but he's also been able to do a few things around his home and help him out in the power situation a little better. So these are great reasons to be involved if you know what you're doing. And if you don't know what you're doing, then go to somebody who can give you good financial advice in this sphere. I am not a person to give financial advice. Ainsley Crypto, on the other hand, will set you up with a cold wallet, make life very easy for you to trade between silver or precious metals and crypto. And why not sink your toe in and try it? I'm going to. May as well. I've got a sneaking suspicion that that Bitcoin and blockchain trading are here to stay. There's no point sticking your head in the sand and ignoring it, because I don't think it's going to change anything at all. In fact, all it's going to do is make us a lot weaker when the time comes for us to start understanding it. So maybe rather than shunning it, as I have been for a long time, maybe it's time that we opened our eyes up a bit to it all and stuck our toe in the water and see what it's all about. Certainly, if you can make a few quid out of it right now, we need everything we can to possibly pay for the mortgage and or just the rent. In fact, I was talking to a lady today who's had to leave her place. She was at Brunswick Heads, leasing a place there. They've decided they're now going to lease that out to somebody else, a daughter or a family member. So she's had to bail out. That was $800 a week. $800 a week for a 2-bedroom flat. Brunswick Heads. I mean, it's ridiculous, folks. Absolutely ridiculous. So if you can take the opportunity to make a quid now and again, either with crypto or with precious metals, I suggest you do it. And if you do it right, it might mean that you get to spend a little bit less time on the road away from those dickheads.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's roll!